Yo, hello everyone. Today I am going to be ranking the top 50 most visited games on Roblox as of January 22nd, 2024. So let's just get right into it. So at number 50, we have Barry's Prison Run. Now this game, at the time of recording this, has 1.9 billion visits. Now the game is basically just an obby, but it is kind of fun, which is why I'm just gonna put this right in the mid section. Next up, Dungeon Quest. So this game, I kind of have mixed opinions about it. It is pretty fun, that's what I'm gonna say. It is fun. Now, I'm not really a big fan of RPGs, but this is sort of an exception, which is why I'm gonna put this in the good tier. Now, at 48th place, it was gonna be Anime Adventures, but trust me, I just could not find the game at all. I don't know if it's been taken down or what, but I just could not find it. I can't actually know if it's good until I play it, and since I'm not really a big fan of anime games, I'm just gonna put this into the bad section. Next up, Please Donate. This game is good for a couple of reasons. One, you can actually get Roblox on this, but I never really bothered to play this because I actually just don't know how to work this game. It is a cool concept, I'll say that. Now, since I've never really played it, I'm just gonna put this in mid. Now, at 46th place, we have Twilight Daycare. Now, this game is... how do I put this? It's trash. I don't like it. I don't like role plays in general. So I would not like a daycare roleplay. Next up is Toilet Tower Defense. Now, I'm kind of surprised at this game because it actually met my expectations at being bad. So next up is Spider. Now, surprisingly, I actually enjoyed this game a lot. I don't know if it's the story or it's just the overall game in general, but this is actually really enjoyable. So I'm just gonna put this game in the good tier. Next up, Epic Minigames. Now, this game is also pretty fun. It doesn't really feel repetitive as I thought it was gonna be, but it actually still is pretty fun. So I'm just gonna put this game in the good tier. Next up, we have Color Block. Now, the game is fun for the first 2 minutes, but after that it just gets way too repetitive, which is why I'm just gonna put this in the mid tier. Next up, Islands. Now, this game is basically just Skyblock but in Roblox, and it's actually kind of cool. I mean, it's literally just a ripoff from Hypixel Skyblock, but even then it's actually still pretty cool. So I'm gonna just have to give this game the good tier. Next up was supposed to be Fashion Famous, but I could not join the game because it kept kicking me from it. Now, since I can't even play this game, I can't rate it good nor bad, so I'm just gonna go with mid. At number 39 is The Floor is Lava. Now, this game is also the same situation with Color Block. It's just way too repetitive. It's fun, but at the same time, it's too repetitive. So I'm just gonna put this in the mid tier. Next up is Gacha Online. I will say it time and time again. I hate roleplay shit, especially gacha stuff. Now, next was supposed to be Hero Power Tycoon, but it was just glitching and it just wouldn't work for me for some reason. Now, since I can't exactly play it, I'm gonna just have to put it in the mid section. Now, at 36th place, we have Break-In. Now, this game, when I first played it, I was kind of surprised because it's actually good. It's really good. The story is interesting and it's actually a really good game for a group of friends. So I'm gonna put this game in the, not the God tier, but in the good section. Next up is Shindo Life. I'm gonna be honest, this game just feels like a ripoff of Blox Fruits. I don't know which came first, Blox Fruits or Shindo Life, but it just definitely feels just too similar. And to be honest, it's kind of boring. And I don't like anime games in general. So I'm just gonna put you in the bad tier. Next up, we have Prison Life. Now, I'm pretty sure this game is really, really old. And even though it's really, really old, it's still a good game. Aside from all the hackers, it's not a bad game. So I'm just gonna put Prison Life in the good tier. Next, we have Berry Avenue. I really just don't want to repeat the same thing again, but I do not like role plays at all. So I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna have to put you in the bad section. Next up, the hood. I'm gonna be honest, I do not understand the premise of this game. I have no idea why people find it fun, but I just don't understand the premise of this game. Or I'm just really dumb. But it feels overrated, so I'm just gonna put you in the bad tier. In 31st place, we have Club Roblox. I think you guys know what I'm gonna say. Next up, we have Meep City. The game's alright. I mean, I'm more used to Jailbreak, but I mean, Mad City is also pretty good too. Which is why I'm gonna put Mad City in the good tier. At 29th place, we have Bee Swarm Simulator. I hate roleplays. You wanna know what else I hate? Simulators. I just don't really like the idea of just standing around and collecting stuff. Now, I don't hate simulators as much as roleplays, so I'm just gonna put it in mid. Next up, we have Hide and Seek. Now, this is an OG game, and this is a really good game. It's OG and it's good, and it's never gonna get out of date. Which is why this game is going on the God tier. Next up, Natural Disaster Survival. Now, this is an OG game, but even though it's OG, it is still good. And it still gets updates for some reason, like the UI has changed and everything. And I mean, it's really fun. So I'm gonna have to put this also in God tier. Next up, King Legacy. Not gonna lie, this literally just feels like Blox Fruits. Down to like the lobbies and down to like the whole premise of the game. It literally just feels like Blox Fruits. So I'm just gonna put this game in the bad tier. In 35th place, we have The Strongest Battlegrounds. Now, this game is sort of fun. I can sort of see how it's fun. It's just kind of complicated for me. Also, I'm not really a big fan of these types of games. So I'm sorry, but you are going to the bad tier. Next up is Blade Ball. Now, this game is fun, although it kind of makes me rage quit sometimes, but this is fun. It's definitely a game I would play for a while. So I'm just gonna put this in the good tier. This one surprised me, Rainbow Friends. I'm pretty sure this game is supposed to be like horror or something, but I just don't really find the horror part. But the game is genuinely just fun. I haven't played the second one though. So I'm actually just gonna put this game in the good tier. In 22nd place, we have Tower Defense Simulator. This game is probably like 100 times better than the toilet tower defense we looked at earlier. And the premise of the game is good. You just put some little stick men and they shoot the zombies. So I'm just gonna put them in the good tier. Next up, we have Evade. Now, Evade is actually good, even though it's literally just Nico's next box, but a lot more goofier. Even though I just rage quit at this game in the end, it's still pretty fun. So I'm just gonna put Evade in the God tier. Now in 20th place, we have Build a Boat for Treasure. Now the premise of the game is pretty simple, and the game is kind of simple by itself, but even though it's simple, it's still a really fun game. So I'm just gonna go place you in the good tier. Next up, Flee the Facility. Now I'm pretty sure this game is also pretty old, but even though it's old, it's still kind of enjoyable. The premise is simple, and the game is just simple in itself, which makes it pretty good. So I'm just gonna put you in the good tier. Next up, Tower of Misery. It's basically just Tower of Hell, but with checkpoints, which kind of just defeats the purpose of it being a Tower of Hell ripoff. So I'm just gonna have to put you in mid. Next up, we have Liftopia. You probably already know what's gonna happen. Next up is Doors. I love this game, but the problem with the game is that it just becomes too repetitive after a while. While it is fun, the premise is fun, and all these updates are fun, it just kind of becomes a bit repetitive after a while. So I'm just gonna rate it into the good section. Next up is Work at a Pizza Place. Now, this game is also pretty old. And even though it's pretty old, it's still a pretty good game. Like, not gonna lie, this game is actually pretty fun. Even though literally the only premise is just to work at a pizza place. And I also like just putting the Coke on the ovens. So I'm just gonna put this game in the God tier. Next game is Arsenal. Now, I would find Arsenal a lot more enjoyable if it wasn't for my lack of skill in the game. But the game is still pretty fun to play. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put this game in the good tier. Next up is Jailbreak. Now, I would give this game a higher rating if it just wasn't for all the bots, all the hackers and shit. The game is fun, but it's just not really fun when it's just overfilled with hackers and shit. So I'm just gonna put this game in the good tier. Next is All-Star Tower Defense. I genuinely have no idea what this game is about. I've tried playing it. I have tried watching videos. I just don't understand the premise of this game at all. I guess it's literally just tower defense, but like I don't understand it. And it's also pretty boring. Now I'm just gonna put you into the bad tier. So next game was supposed to be Bloxburg, but I can't actually play it because I don't have Robux and I am broke. So I really can't rate it good or bad, so we're just gonna put it in mid. Now this is where the game visit starts to get crazy. At 10th place we have Bedwars with 8.3 billion visits. Now this game used to be good. Keyword used. I'm not saying it's not good anymore, but it's just the kits, the hackers, and everything. It just kind of makes the game a lot worse. At this point, it's just pay to win. So I'm just going to put this game into the mid category. At 9th place is Pet Simulator X. I have no idea why this is so popular. I don't like it. It's just a simulator game, but with pets and all that. But I just never really liked it. So I am just going to put this game into the bad tier. Now, next game was supposed to be Royale High with 9.5 billion visits, but it just kept kicking me out. And since I can't play it, I'm just going to have to put it in mid. At 7th place, we have Piggy with 12.3 billion visits. I remember this game was at its peak during the pandemic, and I mean, it still gets a lot of players, which is pretty good. And it's still really fun and enjoyable. Oh, I'm just going to rate this game into the God tier. At 6th place, we have Murder Mystery 2 with 13.3 billion visits. Even though this game just makes me rage sometimes, it's still a pretty fun game, despite its being unfair and the hitboxes just being completely unfair. But I'm still gonna put it in the God tier. Now at 5th place, we have Meep City with 15 billion visits. Now Meep City's reputation has been... well, I don't really have anything good to say about its reputation. In fact, this game just deserves to be on the trash. At 4th place is Tower of Hell with 22 billion visits. Now, this game is just really goated. I actually really love this game, and I've beat this game. So I'm actually gonna put Tower of Hell in the God tier. Now, at 3rd place, we have Bloxburg with 28 billion visits. Even though one of my most successful videos is about Bloxburg, I just don't really like the game. It's just way too boring, and it takes way too long to just advance to the other islands. I'm not trying to start a fight, but I'm just gonna have to put Bloxburg in mid. I just don't really like it. Now at 2nd place, we have Adopt Me with 35 billion visits. Now for me, this game was actually kind of fun for like the first week. Then after that, it just pretty much became repetitive, and all this game really is just trading to get pets, and that's really about it. Also, does anyone still remember Adopt Me crashed Roblox for like a couple of days? That was fun. But I'm just gonna have to put you in the bad tier. I'm sorry. Now, in 1st place, we have Brookhaven with 42 billion visits. Now, I'll say it again and again. I've repeated myself so many times, but I'll say it again. I don't like roleplays. And Brookhaven is not an exception. So I'm just gonna put Brookhaven in the trash. And that is my rating for the top 50 most visited games as of recording right now. And that's basically it. So thank you for watching this video. And yeah, goodbye. Thank you. Also, please subscribe.